Hi there, my name is Sara Sheehan, and welcome to my podcast, Transformational Thinkers with Sara Sheehan. Today I'm joined by Barry LaBov, who is a two-time Ernst Young Entrepreneur of the Year award winner, a recognized author and brand strategist. He is the founder of LaBov Marketing, Communications, and Training, an agency specializing in helping clients discover and celebrate their brand differentiation to rally their organizations and captivate their customers. LaBov's impressive clientele includes renowned brands such as Harley-Davidson, the Macallan Scotch, Audi, and other leading global brands. Barry's book, The Power of Differentiation, Win Hearts, Minds, and Market Share, was celebrated as the top new marketing book on Amazon. With nearly 100 podcast appearances, Barry is also the co-host of the Difference Talks podcast, where he and the LaBov team interview top-selling authors, leading CEOs, and acclaimed performers in sports and music. Barry's goal is to inspire 1 million people with his message. Barry, I'm so excited to welcome you to my podcast today. Hi there. Today I am joined by Barry LaBov, and I am extremely excited, Barry, to have you on Transformational Thinkers today. I would love it, Barry. You are truly a fascinating person. What's your backstory and how did it lead you to where you are today?
Thank you for that question. I would say what led me to where I am today is that as a young boy, when I was in my early teens, I was a rock musician and I had dreams of writing songs and producing songs and writing hit material and all of that. And what that did was it guided me into a very creative environment and also a very collaborative environment where I worked with 3 or 4 or 5 other people trying to create something that had never been created before. And then going out and performing it and then looking at the response and seeing how it went and then coming back and tweaking it and changing it. And in essence, that's exactly what I do today. So what happened was I went through that for many, many years, and I was in my mid to late 20s, and I had a side business going on where I was writing jingles, those irritating little ditties that people listen to. And I had a jingle company as well as a band. And one day I had a tragedy, and that was my father passed away at the age of 63 years old. And I thought, I'm not going to live forever. I need to figure out what I want to do. And much to my surprise, I decided to focus on my business. So all of a sudden, I became a business person. And shortly after that, and I'll make it a quick story, a client asked me to take on all of their marketing. So I became a marketing company. And then I won an award called the Entrepreneur of the Year within a year after that, which is an Ernst Young accolade, which is great. And all of a sudden I went from, hey, I've got a rock band and I'm doing some stuff on the side to make some money to, I actually run a business and I actually have a little bit of confidence in what I do. And from that point on, I've gotten some really wonderful clients like Macallan and Harley-Davidson and Audi and Mercedes, companies like that. And it's turned into a really wonderful existence.
That's fascinating, Barry. And that award, by the way, the EY Entrepreneur of the Year award, that is an amazing accolade. That is a truly bellwether award in industry for entrepreneurs. So congratulations on that acknowledgement. And I believe you've gotten it more than once. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I got it 2 different times, which is a little bizarre. But yes, I did get it 2 times. The big thing about the award is it's an individual award, entrepreneur, singular, of the year. But it really was all about putting together a really great group of people who worked really well together and did things that were, they went beyond the call of duty to make sure we took care of clients and did other things. So it was a company award, but it is officially, awarded to a person. But I took it as a really great indication that I had a great, really powerful team.
Mm-hmm. That's even better.
Mm-hmm.
What you just said there is that you're acknowledging the people that have helped you along the way. And I love that kind of gratitude.
Well, anybody that runs a business that's more than one person needs to lean on people. And if you treat people like they're just a replaceable part, you're going to have a pretty rough existence. And if you really appreciate who you work with, not so much who works under or for you, but who you work with, then I think you have a better life as well as a better outcome.
Mm-hmm. That's very well said. Very well said. And so you've talked a little bit about your backstory and how it led you to where you are. I'd love to hear how you created your business.
My business was an accident. I did not want to do it. And I had been working at a recording studio writing jingles. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, and my wife and I were very, very poor. And one day I said to my wife before I went into work, I said, I haven't been paid for 2 or 3 weeks because the company's in trouble. But I heard from one of my musicians who I've hired to play these jingles, and I promised them that they would get paid, even though I wasn't. And I heard from a number of them that they were not getting paid. So I said, honey, I'm going to go in and tell the boss that I have a concern. And she said, well, you don't think he's going to admit that, do you? And I said, no, he's not going to admit it if he's ripping them off, but maybe he'll start paying them. So I walked out and I saw our landlord walking up and he didn't even look at me. And I thought, wow, he and I always were really friendly. We always paid on time and everything. I thought, well, who cares? I go into the office, and this is how I began the company. I sat there and I said to the boss, I said, I have heard that you're not paying the musicians and you have promised to pay them. And he said, you're right, I'm not paying them. And he said, I just bought a brand new Porsche for myself. I am not paying them. And I don't care about them. And I said, well, if that's how you are, then I quit. And he said, you can't quit. He said, you don't have enough talent and you'll starve without me. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, if I have to work for somebody that's lying and ripping people off, I'd rather quit and starve. So I leave. And I walk out of there and got home. These are the days before a cell phone, so I couldn't call my wife. I walk in, she's crying. And I thought, oh, she heard from somebody at the recording studio that I quit. And I said, honey, what's up? And she goes, well, this was a terrible day. Our landlord came in. He's getting a divorce. He gave us 2 weeks to move out because his ex-wife gets our apartment here. I went, oh. She said, so in 2 weeks, we'll have no home. She said, how was your day? And I said, well, I just quit my job. So I said, we don't have a home and I don't have a job. That's when I began my company. So I thought, okay, I'll do jingles. I'll maybe make $2,000 a month, very, very small amount of money. We'll get by. And I'm going to just try to do a good job, one project, one client at a time. It began like that 40 some years ago. And I no longer do jingles anymore. I sold that business and I do marketing and training, but that's what began it all. It was an accident. I didn't mean to do it.
It also began out of necessity, and
Yes.
It began in a values-based decision.
Mm-hmm. And I also had a very strong spouse right there with me. And had she said, you can't do this, then I would have been, But instead she was, hey, we'll figure this out together.
That's amazing. Truly. And so how does the power of differentiation drive your work with clients and the results that you're getting with clients?
The Power of Differentiation is the title of my book, and it is the one focus my company has, and that is differentiation. And we believe that virtually every company, no matter small or large, has uniqueness or distinctiveness. that you need to discover. You shouldn't try to create who you are on a daily basis. How about focusing on the few really interesting and good things you do? And once you do that, the next step is let's name it. Because after all, some of us who have children don't have child 1, 2, and 3. We have children that we give names to. There's a reason we give them the names, and we tell people all about them, right? Okay, well, same thing about those 2, 3, or 4 differentiators you have. And then after you determine that and you name them, you celebrate them with the most important people, your employees, your team, the people that are behind you. And once you do that, you've created this army of people who believe.
Mm-hmm.
Then you launch it to the world. So that's what we do. And we have helped many, many small, many large companies literally transform themselves doing this.
By focusing inward first and then expressing it outwardly.
Right. Instead of going, now, our competition says this, this, and that, and they sell it really cheap and they do this. Why don't we do it? We can do that. We can do it. Instead of that, going, well, our competition does those things. We do these 2 things differently than anybody else, and our customers seem to really like it. Why don't we focus on that and really magnify those differences as opposed to trying to be like and imitate others who we cannot really sustainably imitate for very long. You know, it's like I can wake up in the morning and be myself very easily. It's hard to wake up every day and be something you're not. So I believe you have to be the brand, the product that you really are, own up to it. This is why I do what I do. I'm not saying it's perfect, but we do it this way, and we do it better than anyone else doing it this way. And that's what we stand for. And by the way, you will not win every customer over because you don't want to. I don't want to win over every customer. I want the right ones to say, hey, this is what I'm looking for.
That's beautiful. And so you're even targeting working with the right customer. You're willing to say no to people that aren't the right customer to work with for your approach.
Exactly. It's hard when you're a small business to say no. And I had a real tough time with it. I find it easier as time goes on to go, you know, I'm not so sure we're really a good fit. Now, once in a while, good news for the audience out there. Sometimes you'll say, I don't think we're a really good fit. And the client will go, no, wait a minute, hold on. I think we are. Let me tell you why. And they're fighting to have you, which doesn't happen much, by the way, but it does happen. If that's the case, maybe you have a good opportunity there. But, you know, saying no should happen far more than saying yes to any client that walks up to you.
Yes. That's exactly right. Barry, can you talk with me at all about the results that you're getting with your clients, or perhaps if there are any return on investment numbers that your clients are experiencing?
Well, I could share many of them. We work with a freight car company that produces rail cars. And we started working with them, and their stock price was pretty small. And now, 2-3 years later, it's 20 times that size. So I'm not saying we did that at all, but I'm saying we were there for the ride with them. I can get a little more granular and share that we work with a copper rod producer. So they produce copper rod, which then turns into copper wire. They were viewed as a commodity. They were the lowest priced product in their segment, which made it tough to be profitable. In a 2.5-year span, they determined what made them unique, who they were. They actually helped that process by changing their name. They changed their name to a really different name than what they had before. They identified 2 or 3 things they did that were really great. And now they are the leading product in their category, and they charge the most. They charge a premium. So that is a massive change.
That's
and
beautiful.
Again, I don't want to go into specifics because the 2 I talked about are publicly held companies, but it could be examples like that, really where you think about it, instead of being the cheapest or instead of looking like everyone else and pricing like everyone else, you actually charge a little more. And
Mm-hmm.
you earn that because
Mm-hmm.
the customers believe in you.
Well, and you're delivering a difference for your clients in the end,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
One thing that we try to do with our clients, and you just said delivering a difference, and I like that. That's a great term, is we try to do more than provide a marketing or training product for our clients. And we try to provide even more than, hey, we're a really great company to work with and it's a great experience. What we try to do is help companies transform. That's what we're doing. We're helping them transform. So one company was viewed as a commodity, and we're trying to transform them from a commodity to something where it's actually a prestigious, valuable brand. That's a transformation. And that transformation doesn't happen outside. It happens outside and inside. That company inside all of a sudden starts thinking, now, wait a minute, we're actually pretty darn good. I'm actually, hold on, everybody, proud of the company I work with or for, as opposed to going, yeah, we're like everybody else. We're no big deal. That's a transformation. It's what
a huge
our
transformation.
Goal is.
Huge.
It is.
It's a cultural transformation.
It is. We're working with a AAA baseball team right now on probably one of the most amazing projects I've ever had in my life. And we're helping them not only transform their organization, but their community. Their community will be transformed. And I'll tell you, that's pretty exciting. So those are the types of things we're talking about. You're taking people from going, why do we do this? What's this about? To, wow, I'm really proud. We call it going from why to wow. And that's what it's all about. It's like, why do we do this? Why do we think? And then you get transformed and you go, my gosh, wow, look what we're doing.
Absolutely. Just unprecedented ways that you're helping clients level up their results in the marketplace. It's very exciting. So, Barry, talk with me about the book that you have on the power of differentiation.
Interesting backstory was I decided to write the book 4 years ago, just prior to COVID-19 hitting. The book was going to be primarily on, hey, here's how you can differentiate. You can discover what makes you unique and increase your market share. Okay. And it was a number of stories and all of that. COVID hits, and there was a phenomena that happened that really jarred me, and it changed the entire focus of the book. And that was, in the middle of COVID, 50 million Americans quit their jobs, just walked off the job during COVID. And it occurred to me that in the middle of this crisis, people were going, you know what, why do I work at this place? Why go into work every day? I don't even want to deal with these people. And they walked off. At the same time, I looked at the number of brands that are out there, and there are millions upon millions of brands. And here's what happened. I looked at those two and I brought them together. I mashed them up and I said, you know what? There are too many brands out there and they don't have any distinctiveness. There are 50 million people that just walked off the job because they don't think where they work has any distinctiveness. It's the same story. So it's not just let's improve your brand differentiation so you can sell more. It's what the subtitle is, which is win, W-I-N, win hearts, minds, and market share. And that's what this book's about. You have to go in that order. You can't say, hey, I got a great product and we're going to shove it out there. And eventually you people building this, you're going to believe. No, it doesn't work that way. It's the opposite. It's, hey, everybody, let's celebrate what we do, why we do it uniquely, and the important role you play. You're winning their hearts and you're sincere. You are then saying, and here's what our plan is. This is why what we do is special. And you're going, okay, so you're winning their minds. And then you know what? You release it to the world. And who does the customer talk to? Your people. And your people are going, I love this. This is amazing. This is the best ever. You've got to look at this. I really believe in what I'm doing. And you know what? You're going to win market share. That's what happened. So the book is not the story of me at all. It's the story of over 50 different individuals and their companies that made this transition from commodity or look-alike or sound-alike or act-alike product to something with some level of originality and appeal and differentiation.
That is powerful. And so your book is available on Amazon. Is that correct?
It is available on Amazon. It's distributed through Simon & Schuster. So worldwide, it's everywhere. I urge people buy the book on Amazon and leave a review. I think it's great. We've already gotten lots of reviews. Leave a review. The other thing I suggest is reach out to me on LinkedIn or on my website, which is barrylabov.com, and I'll correspond with you. I mean, I want to help people. My goal with the book is to inspire over 1 million people worldwide.
To inspire them to level up how they are communicating their value.
That's right.
To others, essentially, correct?
Yes. And it's leaders of all types, whether they have a title or not. You know, title-free leaders out there. You don't have to be the CEO. You just have to be somebody who says, hey, wait a minute, what we're doing is unique. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure people understand that what they're doing here in this company is significant. You're doing something meaningful. You know, those 50 million people that walked off their jobs, I'm betting that they did not feel what they did was significant or meaningful. They're going, I don't care about it. I'm going, let's give people a reason to believe.
That's transformative. 1 million people. That is amazing. What have been your biggest challenges, Barry, and how did you overcome them?
I've had a lot of challenges in business. In the beginning, one of the challenges was saying no. It was like, because I had to say yes to grow. That also then tempted me to look for growth and sometimes take my eye off doing the very best job I could on each individual project for each individual client. And I've made errors on that. I think those are really difficult. You know, one thing I suggest to people when they're starting a business is to really focus on doing a job each time, one client, one project at a time that you're proud of. Not necessarily that it's perfect, because nothing is, but instead of trying to gather bunches of customers and just treat them all the same, look at each one uniquely and do your very best.
That's that is a very tried and true piece of advice that you can apply in every area of life, literally.
It's not easy to do.
Doing your best and really applying yourself, you're always going to end up moving forward rather than moving back.
You're right. One of my good friends is Jacob Brown, and you can look up his book. It's called The Fail Forward Mentality. And what he says is if you fail, make sure that you're failing forward, meaning that you're learning, you're growing from it, you're moving forward, that you don't just fail and fall down and give up. And I think that's one thing we all have to do as entrepreneurs and leaders. We're going to fail. It's, will you pick yourself up and will you move forward, like Jacob says? Absolutely.
Failing forward is also a really remarkable thing that a lot of organizations don't embrace. And that's creating a safe space to try new things and take calculated risks, measured risks. And I think there are a lot of people that could really amp up their impact if they allowed themselves to try more things.
You know, in my book, I talk about perfection. I call it the perfect trap because a lot of people want to be perfect. They don't want to make a mistake. They're afraid to make a mistake. And as a musician, one thing I share with people is, and a lot of people don't know this, most of the hit songs that we all love were mistakes. They were accidents. Somebody went to the piano or somebody went to the guitar and their fingers went on the keyboard or the fret in the wrong position. And they went, ooh, what's that? And it sounded kind of interesting. And they did it again. I went, oh, that's cool. And all of a sudden, that mistake became something that was really unique. And that's how we have to look at our errors and mistakes. Some of them you go, gosh, I did something so stupid. That's really dumb. Okay, great. Is there anything good to come out of that? And that's what I think we have to look at.
What could I learn from that experience that can make me better tomorrow?
I mean, I hate to fail. I hate it. So if I'm going to fail, I better learn because I don't want to go back and make that mistake again. I think the one thing I would share with younger people newer to business is make a mistake. That's okay. Don't make the same mistake. Make it once. If you're going to make mistakes, make a new mistake. Don't make the same mistake over and over. Don't go, I do that every time. Then you got to kick yourself and go, okay, are you paying attention here? Because why make the same mistake? I mean, you did it once. Don't go down there again.
That's right. That's right. Very, very sage advice. If you were to start your business again, Barry, what things would you do differently?
I would pay less attention to dramatic growth and more attention to systematic, one step at a time, doing a really good job that I'm proud of. I would also do what I share in my book and what I've talked with you about today, and that is not try to be all things to all people and commoditize myself and price like everyone else. I would have the courage to say, okay, here are a couple of things I do that my customers seem to like and think is really, really good or are really good. I'm not going to veer from them, but I'm also going to make sure I charge fairly because for me to perform and, offer those consistently, it's not easy to do. So I want to make sure that I price myself fairly because I understand where I am distinct and valuable. And I will say no more often than I will say yes to customers because I'm looking for the right customer.
The right fit for not only you, but for the client.
Absolutely.
That's really good advice that anyone can apply at any stage of their career. I think delivering excellence can never be underestimated. You need to do your best at anything that you do. And you want people to take a look at what you're doing and step back and go, that was very insightful. I learned something from that experience. And I would recommend that to anyone. That's what you want to be a result of your working experience with a client.
I think you're 100% right. And that's what we really have as what you would call our own personal brand. And if we can deliver that, then we're valuable in the eyes of the client. Absolutely,
yes. Not only in the eyes of the client, but in other potential clients, anyone that they might refer you to, because that's a powerful testimonial. Barry, what are you learning right now?
I'm constantly learning. So whether it's technology, whether it's reading books, I'm constantly in a mode to learn and to be able to communicate better, to research what else is out there in technology as an example. So I'm doing a lot of podcasting. I've done 120 podcasts in the last year, and I've learned a lot about that. There's a lot of technology behind that. So on a constant day-to-day basis, I must learn. And I think that's how it should be for all of us.
Absolutely. I believe putting yourself out on the edge means that you're truly sharpening the saw and growing. And if you're not a little bit uncomfortable, you're probably not far out enough.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you're not uncomfortable, then you're really taking it too easy. You need to push it to the point where you're going, boy, I don't know about this one. You go, okay, that's good. That's a good sign. Being a little nervous is the sign of being excited. It doesn't mean impending doom.
That's
So I agree
right.
with you. A little discomfort's good for all of us.
That's right. Barry, what other big goals or aspirations are you working on accomplishing?
I'm looking at each individual at my company, and I want to provide them the opportunity of a lifetime working at my company. So I want them to feel like they can achieve anything that they really want to achieve through working with me. I also am looking at helping clients, as we talked about earlier, transform internally and externally. I'm looking for those big challenges. I'm not looking for a tiny little incremental improvement somewhere. I'm looking for, okay, what has not been accomplished? And is this something we can tackle at my company as a team? Those are the things that excite me the most.
So a huge step change
Right.
in the way a company operates and shows up in the marketplace. Huge step change.
Right. And internally and externally. I have no interest in helping a company increase their market share 4.6%, but their internal culture doesn't shift at all. I mean, what's the point of that? I mean, let's do something bigger. Let's do something that hasn't been done. As one of my clients said, let's make history. I'd rather make history, than do a tiny little incremental thing. Because by the way, if I try to make history, but I fall short, I still got a lot done. If my goal is so little, like I just want to make a tiny little incremental improvement and I fall short, then I haven't done anything.
I love that because incremental improvements are important to make, but when you really are leveling up performance in a significant way, it's really hard to do. It many times it's like a stepping on a bear trap sometimes when you're leveling up and you experience some kind of difficulty during the process, whether it's a health concern or a setback financially, or there's something that comes up because you're trying to get to your next best. And it shows up at an individual level and a corporate level in many cases. The
Well
Big
said.
Leap by Gay Hendricks, for sure, talks about that extensively. Barry, what does being a transformational thinker mean to you?
It means to me that you're looking at the human element in everything you do, because we're not trying to transform numbers. We're trying to transform people, communities, futures. I believe it all starts with people. I think, yes, there are other things involved. There are products and there's technologies and all of that. But to me, transformative means we as human beings have changed for the better. So I look at it through the lens of people. How can we inspire people? I think we're in very skeptical times where, when in doubt, people don't really believe what a company says, or they don't believe what a politician says, or they don't believe this or that. And I'm saying, okay, I get it. I completely understand it. I'm just not going to accept that. I want to be able to help people, companies transform the culture internally and the image and the promise externally of what they do and what they stand for.
Wow, that is very powerful. Barry, we talked about a lot today. Is there anything else that you would like to share? What else is on your mind today?
I think we covered a lot. I think it's really important for all of us, whether we're solopreneurs or whether we're running a company with 30, 40, 50,000 individuals, that we must act as leaders, and that we owe that to the one person or the 100,000 people who work with or for us. And that's not just a responsibility, it's an honor to be able to be put in that position. And that it's not about us, it's about doing the right thing. And I think if you do the right thing, you're going to still make mistakes. We talked about that. But I think if you focus on doing the right thing and you do that enough, and you're humble enough to listen and to learn and to say, hey, I'm sorry, or hey, can you help me? I think when it's all said and done, you have a very positive, very full and interesting life. And I think that's what I wish for everybody that's listening today.
That's beautiful. That is a very beautiful thing. Your definition of success is very touching. And so it's very personal, and it's really values-based. I love the do the right thing and delivering excellence in everything that you do, and just caring, because there are a lot of people out there that don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Having a little empathy in business does make a huge difference.
Sometimes that's the only difference, is that somebody cares.
That's right. Barry, I can't thank you enough for our conversation today.
Well, thank you. I'm a big fan, and I really appreciate how you are present in all your interviews, and you're right there, and I feel like we're having a conversation. So I truly enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Barry. Here are the 3 key takeaways from my conversation with Barry today. First, follow your uniqueness. Barry's journey emphasized that true differentiation comes from focusing on what makes you genuinely unique rather than trying to mimic competitors. When you discover and name your differentiators, it's easier to rally your team and captivate customers. Second, the power of transformation. Barry highlighted how differentiation isn't just for the marketplace, but starts within the organization by celebrating what makes your team and company special. You create a culture of pride and purpose, leading to transformation both internally and externally. Third, embrace failure and learn. Barry's advice to entrepreneurs is to see failure as a stepping stone for growth. Make mistakes, learn from them, and ensure you don't repeat them. This approach fosters innovation and resilience. Thank you so much for listening today. As always, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and never miss an episode.